Welcome to Bloody Besties, your true crime podcast with best friends who have known each other since elementary school. We are your hosts, forensic scientist Ruby Wilde, presenting little known cases to
me, Melissa Mae, the daughter of police officers and true crime addict, who will be the one to bring you fun facts about our episode. So sit back, relax. Just kidding. Stay sharp, buckle up. We hope you enjoy the ride.
So, Mel, today's topic that I gave you
was comics.
Yeah.
Do you know how many types of kryptonite there are, Ruby?
Not just one.
No.
A green one.
No.
Crystal thing, right?
So I thought the same thing until I had to do research, and there are more than 20 types of kryptonite.
They made a kryptonite bullet. I know that much.
You know more than I do.
I don't even, I'm sorry. This is going to make me not fans, but I'm not into Superman at all. I'll do DC, Marvel, or sorry, not DC, because that's what he is. I'll do
Batman is DC.
Yeah. That's like Batman, Wonder Woman, anything Marvel. Marvel is my bag, but for some reason, Superman.
I've never watched Superman, but I like watching The Witcher on Netflix.
Duh.
And that guy was Superman.
But he's not on it anymore.
It's super hot.
And now it's Liam Hemsworth.
He's okay. Wait, I thought that was Thor.
Oh, wait. So it's the other Hemsworth.
Chris?
Oh.
I don't think both brothers are doing comics, are they?
Yeah, one is Thor and the other one took over the Witcher job. And then you have the Luke Hemsworth that's only in a couple of things with them.
So you're telling me a Hemsworth is on my show Witcher?
Yes. He's the newest one.
I'm still trying to work through the series.
Girl, you have my logins.
With Yennefer. I have Netflix.
Okay. Because I was I've given you my logins for everything.
I wonder when he's going to show up.
This next season.
Is it released?
Yes, I haven't seen it.
Wait, but he's going to be in there in the future? Okay. All right.
He's Henry Cavill or whatever. He left to go do some other superhero, something like God of War or something like that, because he makes those little figurines. Okay. You know how I'm really into miniatures and all that stuff and 3D printing.
Yeah.
So is he. But his are to play a game with, and mine are just aesthetically pleasing.
You sell them?
Sometimes I do. I've made some money from my miniature crime scenes because they are accurate.
Exactly.
But yeah, so he makes little figurines too. And I believe it's for God of War. And so he left Witcher to go film that. And so one of the Hemsworths, the Hemsworthies, I don't know. He took over.
Okay.
And they're not even it's not even, oh, this is his brother. Legit, they give him the wig and everything. It is him.
Yennefer.
Yennefer.
Okay. So we all know that there's green, which takes away your strength and gives you flu-like symptoms.
Again, we're talking kryptonite now.
So you get flu-like symptoms until you eventually die if you don't get it fixed. Then there's white, which kills plants, bacteria, and viruses. Then there's gold, which removes all powers of Kryptonians, back in their homeland.
Okay.
I'm telling you, this is complicated.
Yeah. Oh, wait, they're in there a crystal or a kryptonite cave or something on Superman's homeland. I don't know. I don't know Superman. Don't hate me.
It's okay.
Don't hate me.
We don't go to Comic-Con.
I want to.
I want to see the supernatural guys. Did see one of them in Burbank during Kabbalah, not the taller one, not the cuter one, because there's Jensen Ackles and then there's
Jordan Padalecki.
Not Jordan. Jason Padalecki. You got the last name right.
Padalecki.
That's the one I saw. I was behind with his wife, but I love me, the short guy. I love him. Jensen Ackles. I'm here for it. So I would go to Comic-Con to see them.
I would, if we go to Comic-Con, what am I going to make you do?
I don't know. Dress up.
I was like, what's the one thing I make you do every Halloween?
My friend Michelle, who I used to work with, she got to meet Jason and Jen.
Okay, I gave up in season 4. I'll have to try and give it a go again after I finish One Tree Hill.
Lord help us.
Okay, here's my thing. Would you ever picture me watching One Tree Hill one time, let alone 2?
I only remember the main subtitles for that show. I have not seen a single episode.
Oh.
I don't know nothing about it.
It's so good. I love it.
Michelle said it was cheesy,
Yeah,
but she likes it.
but can't you tell? I'm the squishy friend.
These are the things you watch when your husband's at work.
Yes. I know it's
You are
so funny because I am not the squishy friend. Well, wait, hang on. I am the squishy friend. Like,
physically.
you can definitely pinch some of this fat, but I am not like, obviously you've heard me talk about work before.
You're not
I'm not the
people-y.
sensitive. I'm not people-y. I'm not any of that, but I totally dig me some One Tree Hill. I've watched Buffy 3 times.
So I'm a fan of Pushing Daisies. You remember that show?
There's a dog in it. That's why you love it.
It's visually pleasing.
Well, yes, but also there's a dog in it.
I remember the dog.
How do you not?
I remember they'd go and everything they touched would die.
Yeah, so he had to have like a little contraption to pet that little golden retriever that he had. It had Zoe Deschanel in it.
Don't hate me, but I don't like golden retrievers. I don't like labs. I don't like golden retrievers.
Wait, you don't like labs and you have Bella?
Bella's pit bull and American Staffordshire.
You swear there's no lab in that, girl?
According to Embark, there is not.
I still love that big old head and those baby eyes.
But I'm not a lab girl because they're too common. Family dogs, nah. I like the ones that are thrown to the side.
Okay,
misunderstood.
In our socials, we're going to have to put up pictures of all of our fur babies.
Our kids. Yeah, we can do that.
I like it. But anywho, back to kryptonite.
All right. So are you ready for my favorite color of kryptonite?
Wait, well, we all know my favorite color because it's red, ruby. Wait, yours? How do I not know your favorite color? Hang on. Is it pink?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pink.
I almost just failed the best friend job, or the best friend test.
Pink and black are my colors.
I knew black, but I knew that's not what you were talking about because there's no way there's black kryptonite.
There is, but
fuck?
It was too much to write down. There's pre-war kryptonite or comics, and there's post whatever. So the pre stuff is World War II, Wild Wild West comics, and then there's post stuff, which is like the nowadays. And I was not willing to get into all this complication stuff. So I just picked the colors for the fun fact to get a baseline.
Okay, girl. Do you know how much research I do for each individual episode?
It makes my brain hurt.
Researching makes me happy.
And I've been doing this something every day for the podcast.
Heck yeah, you have.
But
my internet,
I get tired.
So Mel has to do all the editing, all the uploading. I can't do any of that, but I do research.
We've gone 3 days without being suspended on our socials since I gave it to you. It's like days without an injury. Thanks, Facebook.
Okay, by the time everybody's listening to this, you might not realize the turmoil we have been going into. It's like every single day.
It's so controversial.
I mean, just because it's called Bloody Besties. But no, back to
Snowflakes.
Segueing.
Are you ready? Pink makes Superman gay. Yeah.
Tell me this the 1940s comic because that's not a bad thing. Why is that a kryptonite power?
If you don't believe me, you can check out 2003's Supergirl Volume 4, number 79. During the Many Happy Returns storyline, Superman acted a little gay when he got a hold of some pink kryptonite. I'm dead.
Speechless. Okay. Your face is priceless. That is not kryptonite. Having something that makes someone gay. That's not a kryptonite. And I'm not just saying that because I'm some PC whatever. I'm just
Good times.
Okay. Apparently, DC thinks that being a gay Superman is a bad thing. They need kryptonite for it. It ain't us. Okay. Okay. That is not our viewpoint at all. Okay. And that is why I had that look on my face and I have made Mel cry. So, hey, we were just talking about how I cry from frustration and all that stuff. You apparently cry.
Your face makes me cry.
My face makes my best friend cry.
In a good way.
Oh, okay. I really hope you guys enjoyed that because the case I'm bringing forth is not enjoyable at all. Like, that will probably be the last bit of joy that we will be bringing you this episode.
That was our palate cleanser.
Yes, we have a pre-palate cleanser because,
In case you're binge watching, binge listening.
I mean, maybe one day we'll be on YouTube, but I don't think that either one of us want to be on camera. I don't know. Maybe sporadically if you
We're not ugly.
we're not, but maybe if you like pay for us to get ready. Wait, that
I could
sounds
show you
very.
my feet.
I was gonna say this sounds like I'm trying to do like an OnlyFans.
So you do work for the government, so you need some extra income.
Yeah, but I also can't do OnlyFans because I work for the government. Here we go. I hope everybody's ready. May 7th, 1954, five models from Sydney, Australia, aged two of them, 15, one 18, one 21, one 23. They were contracted by a photographer, Leonard Lawson, to be in a calendar that he was creating in Terry Hills. He told them that they would be modeling sports clothes and swimsuits. Now, we have both modeled.
We've been in calendars.
I've been in a lot of magazines too.
Nice.
I'm ready to be in another one too. But anywho, if they have, I'm just proposing. You don't know what's getting ready to happen. So if you hear me, you, three of our friends picture in our group chat, those same three friends,
Yep. Our twit twats.
twit twats, twit chat. What are we called? Is it
What?
twit
Not twat waffles. It's
twat chat? Twit twat.
twit twat.
Okay. So in our twit twat,
Tongue twister.
in our twit twat chat, pick three girls other than us. We've all been chosen by this photographer to go and take photos in this area for sports clothes and swimsuits. Would you go?
Yeah. With three people as a
Wait,
group. Yeah.
So five of us together.
Yeah. With our girl gang. Yeah. I'd go.
Now picture if we were teenagers. So picture in high school. Would you still go?
I think my parents would have a say in it. So probably no.
But some of them, 21, 23.
Yeah, I'd go.
Me too. Five girls, one guy. Why not?
Take them.
That would be a bad decision because he drove them all to the area. They stopped for sandwiches on the way. Well, snacky snackies. I mean, we've all done that.
We don't really eat before our shoots, though.
No, we don't. We eat after. Don't feed the models.
But we are not rookies in that, so we know.
No,
we know what to do.
I'm also a thick girly, and you're going to feed me. You're stopping for sandwiches. I'm freaking eating. Okay. He then took photos of them like before, and they had lunch, and he took some more photos after. Everybody knows though, you're not doing the swimsuit photos after lunch. Okay, just putting that out there. And again, I'm just trying to delay what's coming. We all know what's coming. You've got five girls, one photographer. Photos are going good. They just had lunch, and then things went downhill because he took out a sawed-off 22 caliber rifle and told them, quote, "I'm suffering cancer and I'm going to do away with myself." If you were to see a dude that you've just been doing photos with, we've all taken pictures with, we've had the same photographer before, a
Yes.
dude.
Yeah.
Now, if while we're all there in the house that we were in and he's taking the photographs and then he were to pull out a rifle and just be like, "I'm going to kill myself because I'm dying anyway."
I'd run.
Or would you like tell him, "Don't do it"?
I'd run.
He's threatening to kill himself, not you.
Bye.
Two types of people in this world.
I don't need that image of you blowing your brains out in my head forever.
I guess I've seen it enough.
I've had people die next to me, and that still is in my head.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
need to add that to it.
See, I've seen enough, and I've also watched many people get murdered or kill themselves because of my job. So I guess two types of people, I would try and talk them out of it. I really would, and that's what these girls did. They were basically, "Don't do it. You still have time. Not here, not in front of me, not now." He actually told them, "I'm going to do it, and I'm going to kill you if you stop me from doing it."
Exactly. He's taking you with him.
He ordered all of them on their stomachs, tied their wrists using a sticky plaster. That's what they called it. And I knew you were going to ask me this, so I looked it up. So the sticking plaster, it's like those roll bandages. Picture vet wrap.
Yeah.
He used that to bind their wrists. Then he covered their mouths, and he was not planning to kill himself. He did not have cancer. He stripped them, He raped two, attempted to rape a third, and indecently assaulted the other two. None of these girls' names were released, nor would I want to repeat them. Some of them are adolescents, and they don't deserve that. When he was done, he untied them, paid them their modeling fee, drove them into town, and said, "Say nothing." Thought that they wouldn't say anything. He was wrong. They ran. They alerted police. He was arrested. He went to trial. He tried to claim everything was consensual against all five girls. No, it wasn't. He was convicted after a 3-day trial and a 2-hour deliberation of 2 counts of rape, 1 count of assault with intent to commit rape, and he was sentenced to death at the age of 26. Again, this is Leonard Lawson.
So the 2 counts of rape, I'm going to say, are the minors because, again, it is never consensual when you're an adult and they're minors. So the 2 counts is for minors.
I would think so, but they didn't go into specifics. It might have been the 2 completed rapes. Okay.
Completed.
Can I tell you the
Yes.
reason that I say it that way is I had a trainee once and you have to take requests. So somebody's calling you saying, "I need you to come out and process this crime scene because I have had a rape or an attempted rape." And my trainee, I read his report. It said he attempted to rape one woman and successfully raped another. And I said, "Successfully?" Yeah, it was a success. You want to say that on the stand? Is that what you want to say? Success? And he was like, "I don't think that's what I want to say." So that's why I say completed. I don't know what other way to say it. You attempted to rape and then you completed a rape. I'm not going to say unsuccessful and successful. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I ain't giving any props to anyone anywhere. Who was this man? Leonard was born August of 1927 in Wagga Wagga in New South Wales.
I like that name.
I do too. I love the name Wagga Wagga. So again, we're in Australia. That's in New South Wales in the Riverina district. His parents were Keith and Eileen, and they were just 18 when they were married and had him. He had a good childhood. He had a stint in boxing under the fighting name the Wagga Walloper.
Oh,
We can like the kid, not who he becomes. The Wagga Walloper. He went by Len, and he was a budding artist and was noted after his family moved to Manly in the 1940s. He won a national competition at the age of 15 put on by Sid Miller for his comic book artistry. See, that's why you got the comic book.
I was wondering when that was going to come into play.
Here we go. He too married at 18 to a woman named Betty Jameson, September 1946, and the couple went on to have 3 children living near the beach in northern Sydney. He wrote and illustrated these stories in the first issue of Action Comics, published by H.J. Edwards. I put what their actual logo is, and I don't know what it means, but it's H.J. Edwards PTY and LED. Those are my periods. I don't know, Party Limited, maybe? He created the Lone Avenger character in 1946, who actually became famous all over the Australian continent. That comic ran for 13 years. He further created the Hooded Rider, Diana, Queen of the Apes, and Peter Fury. All of them were super popular and famous at this time. He was comic book uh,
Extraordinaire.
illustrator and writer as well. So back to this horrible attack. Why did he do it? He couldn't answer that question, and I'm sure that is where the story would end had they just kept him in jail. But his death sentence was commuted to 14 years imprisonment. While serving his time, he painted religious images on the prison walls. He actually found religion and he taught a prisoner to read, write, and draw. All of this, everybody was thinking that he was reformed.
You're always reformed when you're in an environment when you don't have triggers. There's no women
Thank
to
you.
trigger you
Sorry,
to be a
you
shithead again.
are a rapist of females in an all-male prison.
Correct.
How do you know how you would behave around females again?
Yep.
Oh, that pisses me off. Yes, I am right there with you on that. They thought because he was on his best behavior, he was released on parole after only 7 years. Remember, he was sentenced to death, commuted to 14 years, now only served 7 and was released. Now, while serving his time, his wife did leave him with the children to move to Queensland. So he's a free man, like a free man. No ties whatsoever. May of 1961. He took on lovers, he had prostitutes, but he could not sate his sexual appetite. Because even still with sex workers, you can pretend the rape fantasy, but it's still not what you're going for. And that's what he was realizing. He concocted a plan. In September of 1961, he befriended 16-year-old Jane Bauer, stating he wanted to paint her. He was an artist. He even met her parents to make sure that they were okay with it. Family, friend. They thought it would be wonderful, and he did paint her multiple times without any incidents. So no one thought anything of it when he had Jane come to his apartment for another session. He put the moves on her. She was not having it. She is 16. And when was he born again? So he was born 1927, and this is now 1961. I don't feel like mathing, but we're around 30s.
Yeah, 30, 40s.
So she's 16. So she's like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It was then Len took out a sock that he had filled with sand. He struck Jane on the head, which knocked her out. He then bound her hands, stripped her, and raped her, wrapped his hands around her throat, and when she started to fight him off, he grabbed a knife and stabbed her in the chest. He then wrote on her body, God forgive me, Len. Signed it. Now, of course, Jane's parents were worried when she did not return home, so they went to his apartment looking for her, but no one answered. They continued to look until the next morning when Jane's cousin broke into the apartment and they found her. Police were called and there was a manhunt. That didn't last long. While the Bowers were finding Jane's body, he was at Sydney Church of England Girls Grammar School in Moss Vale, Southern Highlands. He had previously visited this place saying that he was researching a book that he was writing. So he became friends with everyone and everyone got used to seeing him all around there. This time, he didn't have good intentions because he entered with a 22 caliber Remington rifle with 167 cartridges. The knife he had killed Jane with was still with him. It was around 9 a.m. when he went into the school chapel where the students were. When he entered, he told everyone to be quiet, not to try anything, or he would shoot them. The headmistress, Jean Turnbull, was present and asked him what he wanted, and he said he planned to hold the school hostage until noon. He allowed the headmistress to continue the service, and it was then that he passed a note to another staff member that read, to whom it may concern, read this carefully before any attempt is made to contact the police. Lives depend on it. By now, the police will be hunting for me for murder, so I'm going to hold the girls hostage for a few hours. She was supposed to deliver that to someone outside. I didn't see like where he had her take it or anything along those lines. Police didn't take long to find him. They figured out where he was, and when they arrived, he told police that he had already killed, so he would do it again if they attempted to approach the chapel, and they believed him. His demands, he wanted to speak to 3 people before he would give himself up. A nun that had visited him while he was in prison the first time, Olympic athlete Marlene Matthews, and Miss Australia, Tanya Verstack. Now, the police were not about ready to comply. So they approached while he was distracted, and headmistress Jean grabbed his gun when he was like paying attention to the police approaching. She grabbed his gun, but Len was able to pull the trigger 5 times while they were wrestling for it. She was able to gain custody of the rifle after those shots were fired. The fight made it all the way to the door of the chapel, where a police constable had broken out a pane of glass. She grabbed the rifle and sent it through the hole of the pane of glass. So police now had his only weapon, like his only firearm. He still had the knife, but because she sent the gun outside, the police stormed the chapel. This girl, chef's kiss. Way to go, headmistress. All was not well because one of those 5 shots struck and killed Wendy Liscombe, who was just 15, in the chest, and she died. He was arrested, brought to trial, and though he claimed insanity, he was found sane and he was found guilty of murder, sentenced to life, December of 1961. after only a 17-minute deliberation. Now, how many trials or like court cases have you been able to get on or anything like that?
I've never made it to be selected. I've done a couple days sitting,
Yeah, they never want me, just like I'm assuming they never want you.
and I am ready to be like, Mom and Dad are police. I'm super biased.
Oh,
Don't pick me.
no, I want to be on a jury trial so bad.
They don't pay enough for me to sit there and be on a jury. I'd rather be making money at my normal job. But I've never heard of it lasting only 17 minutes. Even like the quickest one is an hour, 2 hours, but not 17 minutes.
Okay, because if you have been in there, which I have a few times, if they were to dismiss the jury, okay, jury, you're dismissed for deliberation, they stop the time there. Everybody has to get up, file out of the room, get into the room. Then they have to do their ballots, get a consensus, make sure that it's unanimous. Then they file back in, then time is started again. So 17 minutes is for everybody to basically go in there and be like, guilty, 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 guilty. We're good, back out.
Okay.
Not a single person wavered. I want to be on a jury so bad.
I wouldn't mind being on a good one.
No, I just want to be on any. I just want to know it from the other perspective. I've been on the witness stand enough. I want to know what it's like to see somebody on the witness stand and be, I don't want to say invested. I've like observed enough. I don't know the words that I'm looking for, but I want to be on a jury so bad. And they're always like, you're a forensic scientist. No, thank you.
Well, your job, you never get to see the outcome
Yeah.
of all the work you do. So maybe that's why you want to be on a jury. That way you can see it start to finish.
I just really want it. After 17 minutes, they found him guilty. And for her role in saving the students and the staff, the headmistress, Jane, was awarded an MBE for bravery and the police commendation in 1962. No, I don't know what an MBE is. Sorry, I didn't look it up and I don't know why. Now, again, this is not a brief tale, so we're obviously not done yet. June 18th, 1972. Parramatta Jail hosted an event which included 3 dancers. This is, by the way, where Leonard's being held. They were invited to a social where Sharon Hamilton, who was 23, was looking at a portrait that Len had painted of President John F. Kennedy. So that's United States president that he painted in Australia. And she was just fascinated by it. So Len noticed, he walked up, he introduced himself. I'm the artist. And she's like, oh my gosh, this work is great. Like, good job. I'm paraphrasing there, obviously. As the gathering was coming to an end, he wasn't ready to say goodbye. He grabbed Sharon, held a knife to her throat, another to her back, and ordered everyone to leave the room or he would kill her. And obviously, these aren't knives, they're like shanks. That didn't go over well. 2 prisoners actually stormed him and they started punching him in the face. Then a guard joined. And then another prisoner took his distraction. Like, so he's getting beat up over here. The other prisoner grabs Sharon and like pulls her off to safety. She had been cut on the neck, hand, and back, but she was not mortally injured or dangerously injured, we'll put it that way. He went to trial for this attack in 1972. He had another 5 years added to his sentence. Len behaved himself for the rest of his sentence. He painted murals on the prison walls. He donated his art to charities. He was interviewed for 60 minutes, not like for an hour for the show 60 Minutes in 1999. I just realized as I'm reading that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's wrong. So there's a show called 60 Minutes out there. In 1999, he was interviewed.
I still remember the.
Oh, of course. It's still out, I think. I still would watch it. It's a great show. He put his best foot forward, but everyone saw through the facade and he was not offered parole. So he was like,
Finally.
yeah, but we're not done yet. Because he did die. He did die. So we're done with Len because he died November 29th, 2003 at the age of 76 from coronary disease, leading to like what was most likely a heart attack while still behind bars at Grafton Jail, having served 41 years. He was declared the longest serving prisoner at the facility to date. The facility has since been shut down, but there was an effort to preserve the murals that he painted. So he painted the murals on the walls. That look that you're giving me right there is the victims of this man.
Yes.
They were like, no.
Why are you honoring this piece of crap.
That right there is how they all felt. Well, the people in the prison were like, well, he was reformed pretty much. Maybe, not really. But they wanted the artwork. Now, I saw this art. Okay,
It
you know me, I can do art. I've painted murals before, I've painted paintings before. I could have done what he did. I'm not lying. I could do it. Maybe not his comic book stuff, but the murals that he painted in the prison. There was like this whole push, preserve the man, blah, blah, blah. There was no follow up to any of these preservation things, so I'm assuming that they just got destroyed with the prison. I hope. Back to Sharon Hamilton, the girl who was the dancer that was taken forcefully by Len. She was actually awarded $99,381 in damages.
she the one that got her throat cut a little bit?
Mhm. And the look on my face should tell you what happens next.
It's not good.
All was not well. She suffered PTSD from the event, and that led to her seeking treatment at Chelmsford Private Hospital. Now, again, the episode's not that short because I fell into yet another rabbit hole. This happens a lot during my research. You'll get used to it. I am researching another topic. I came up with just one topic. I am now 3 episodes deep because of the rabbit holes that I fell into for some upcoming episodes. The hospital, Chelmsford Private Hospital, is notorious for what they called deep sleep therapy.
That
Now,
doesn't sound good.
okay. So,
Lobotomies?
oh, I could do a lobotomy episode coming up.
Got some Kennedys in there.
Okay. If you want to hear about lobotomies, inbox us on any of the socials.
If you don't, you're going to get it anyways.
Well, apparently, because Mel is telling me I have to, but you're getting lobotomies, okay? Deep sleep therapy, to be referred to as DST from this point forward. It's the induction of sleep to treat psychiatric disorders. So, this idea started with psychiatrist Neil McLeod in the early 1900s when he would inject patients with sodium bromide to send them to sleep, but he had a patient die. He was deterred from this type of treatment and stopped doing it, along with most psychiatrists. Now, it was attempted again in the 1920s by Jacob Classy, who used 2 different types of barbiturates to put someone to sleep in order to treat schizophrenia. He published that he had 3 of his 26 patients die in treatment from bronchopneumonia or cardiac hemorrhages. So that's happening. So 3 of his 26 patients died. So again, it was back to the drawing board. They were like, yeah, something's not working. We're not good. It was picked up in 1963 by Dr. Harry Bailey. Dr. Harry Bailey was born in 1922. He studied at the University of Sydney, and in 1952, he became the Assistant Director of Psychiatric Clinical Services for the Department of Public Health in Australia. He used sedation with the barbiturates to treat substance abuse and mental disorders, this time for 2 to 8 weeks at a time. People would be in a coma for 2 to 8 weeks. Now, here's the problem that he was having. They weren't just sleeping because that wasn't enough to treat the mental illness in his mind. He would perform electroconvulsive shock therapy while they were asleep. The patients had no clue this was happening. There was no pain blockers, which is common when you use electroconvulsive shock therapy. Well, again, if we go over lobotomies, we have to talk about this because they're all one and the same when it comes to asylums. These people were strapped to the beds, put into a coma, fed through a tube in their nose, and then they would go through the shock therapy while they were sedated. They would suffer sometimes, and all of this, he claimed, was just resetting the patient's psyche. He opened Chelmsford, Chelmsford, Chelmsford.
Sounds good.
Okay. He opened it January 1st, 1963, and his first patient for treatment was Julie Myers on March 1st, 1963. So 3 months later, she was 17. She was admitted for premenstrual tension, PMS.
Huh.
She was put into the mental hospital for PMS. She died October 1st, 1963. And that was after she had been released and she killed herself. She was found after 5 days. She had overdosed on sedatives. The newspapers reported another death when Ronald Carter, that must be a typo, and it's supposed to be Ronald Carter. He died at the age of 23 in May 1967 while asleep. August 20th, 1969, Craig McKay He was 14. He died during treatment. His parents did not sign off on receiving the deep sleep therapy. They thought he was just going into a health treatment center, but he died. The quote unquote treatments did not stop there. And by the time they were brought down, 24 patients had died while still in the hospital due to complications, which included respiratory problems and edema from barbiturate poisoning, pneumonia, bed sores, and vomiting while unconscious.
Boy.
2 patients suffered permanent brain damage from this treatment. And the final death that occurred was February 13th, 1979, when Coralie Walker died at the age of 30 when she was in her deep sleep coma. After release, 19 further patients committed suicide within a year of receiving their treatment.
When are they going to do an investigation on this?
We're getting there. One of these patients was Sharon, that had been at this treatment center. She also was rumored to have had a relationship with the head of this facility, Dr. Barry. We've got that going. She took an overdose of barbiturates in 1978, and she actually left her estate to him, which red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. I don't know about you. So again, Sharon is the one who Len had held a knife to her throat while imprisoned. She had PTSD from this event, checked into this hospital, winds up getting in a relationship with the head doctor who opened up this hospital with the deep sleep therapy. And then she committed suicide with barbiturates, which were used to put people into the deep sleep therapy, and left everything to the head doctor of this facility. That's just a quick synopsis of everything that we just went over. It became part of the reason that the facility was successfully closed. And that's mainly thanks to a woman who was a nurse, Rosa Nicholson. She had already raised her worry to the North South Wales Health Commission in 1972, but they ignored her. So again, Sharon killed herself in 1978. This woman raised her concerns in 1972. 6 years before, they ignored her. Now, after one of her friends died in treatment, she decided enough was enough. So she started her campaign to sneak records out of the hospital. She would copy them and return them before people would notice. Now, keep in mind, this is like before you can like just digital photograph or whatever. So she would sneak them out, literally copy them, sneak them back in. Nobody knew what she was doing. She then, with all of this ammunition, went to the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, which I should have given you this as a topic. It's an offshoot of Scientology.
Boy.
I don't want to get sued. Scientology is very litigious. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. I'm putting that out there. I don't know if we're popular enough for anybody to have ever heard of this or if we ever do go viral. Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly.
But they like to party.
Allegedly. I ain't getting sued by them.
I
They sue
I
everybody.
used to work near, like, in Hollywood near the big old Scientology place.
I processed a couple crime scenes out there,
Ooh.
like right by them.
Allegedly.
Citizens Commission on Human Rights. We're just going to ignore the Scientology part because that has nothing to do with this. In 1978, that committee had enough. They went to the Attorney General and got more notice within the newspapers about what this facility was doing. So the facility was officially shut down in 1979. Now, the tale's not over because in 1983, Dr. Bailey was charged with manslaughter because of all these deaths that were happening. But he would never face court because he too committed suicide with barbiturates September 8th, 1985. Because he committed suicide, his case was dismissed, obviously. He was still technically married at the time of his death, but they were arranged and she had custody of their children. So that's all I give a shit to report about this Dr. Barry, and his kids and wife deserve to live in peace. Now, former patients formed the Chelmsford Victims Action Group, and that's a royal commission, and it was established in 1988 in order to investigate the hospital. Now, the result is that DST, the deep sleep therapy, it's now banned. There were other charges against other doctors and nurses, but I'm not naming them because they have already gone to court for defamation. Shut up.
You were going to say church.
They had already gone to court because of a defamation lawsuit, and I don't have the kind of money to back that up. So I am not naming the doctors and the nurses. If you really give a crud, feel free to Google. It's really easy to find. Chelmsford deep sleep therapy defamation lawsuit. You can figure out who had a problem with all of this. Hopefully, all of that made sense because it's a very convoluted story as to how comic books connect to deep sleep.
All because of Lynn.
And kryptonite. All right. Talk to you guys next time.
Bye, y'all.
The views and thoughts expressed in this podcast are ours alone and do not represent the thoughts or opinions of anyone else. The information presented is for general information purposes only. We are not liable for anything you do with this information.